This is actually one of the best population videos I think I have found here on YouTube because it's pretty accurate in terms of like what's going on in history. I feel like that's what I really like to do here is kind of describe all of the other like world events or what else is happening in different regions of the world. A lot of focus gets put on obviously really major events, but then I like to consider some of the other surrounding nations or what's going on in another continent to add further context to the video. This does a really good job of specifically showing how giant the British Empire got, because a lot of other population maps for some reason decide to separate the British Empire. I really don't like that when they just decide to put India, for example, in the year 1920. Like, India was all a part of the British Raj. It doesn't really work like that. So this is that's why I said this is like one of the best population videos I've seen, and it's going to show both the British's true size and a lot of the big empires that we come to see. Now, it's 1627, so we're beginning the colonization time. We're seeing Europeans head over to, well, Spain and Portugal are having a field day right now, making it all through South America, what we know today as Latin America as well. So you'll notice a theme here. Civilizations out of China and India, they always have lots of population. But there are different moments where obviously those two regions in Earth go through some pretty hectic times, whether it's India being colonized by the British or whether it's the Chinese civilization basically oofing themselves, going into a major civil war. So we start this video off with a world population just under 500 million, and the Ming Dynasty are approaching 200 million. It's crazy to think about that we still have this many people 400 years ago. So but also our population numbers have absolutely exploded. Now we're at 8 billion? I can't even remember. I feel like I always forget what the number is because obviously these things are changing every day. It's getting bigger and bigger. But Ming Dynasty and the Mughal Empire, which is located in South Asia, are obviously in the top two. The Ottoman Empire in third here is one of the biggest. They're still very giant, which is a big reason why the Europeans decided to go around them to start to colonize. But they're kind of falling off. Siege of Vienna thing is about to happen. The Iberian Union, again, small detail, but that really separates this video from a lot of other population videos that I've seen. This is the Iberian Union. That means that there was a union between Spain and Portugal. So this is when Spain and Portugal, I guess you could say, are at their height. All of Iberia, which means all of their colonies in the New World, are all combined for a brief time. It's incredible. Then we have Japan, this shogunate here. We have the I never knew how to pronounce that, but that also, I believe, is in South Asia. Kingdom of France, the Tsardom of Russia. This is Korea. Poland, Lithuania is absolutely massive right now. We've got Persia, Dai Viet. We're still, obviously this is like 300, 400 years after the Mongolian invasion, after the Black Plague, after all that stuff. We're pretty deep into the age of exploration. We're going to see like the 30 Years' War happen with this, with the schism, with the separation between Protestantism and Catholics in a lot of Western Europe. Kingdom of Italy still. Sorry, Kingdom of England. We won't see Italy for another 200 years. So watch population numbers grow. Also watch as the Mughal Empire continues to increase and increase. Very, very big. They've got the Islamic moon right there. Russia, the Tsardom of Russia, is getting more and more giant. They're colonizing further and further out towards Siberia. They're handling a bunch of hordes right now all over the place. The Habsburg monarchy can be seen as one thing. This is out of Austria, but the Habsburgs are going to grow quite a bit. I think at this point they're even in the lowlands, controlling the Netherlands. So we'll eventually see that Kingdom of Italy turn. Oh yeah, so we're going to see swaps. So this is when certain dynasties fail in China, or when, like I said, with Kingdom of England, they are eventually going to become the British Empire soon. But yeah, so they go from the Ming Dynasty to the Qing Dynasty, right there. And if I remember correctly, the Qing Dynasty comes out of Manchuria, the people that lead that. Fall of Ming, rise of Qing. The Ming Dynasty collapses as the Manchus seize Beijing, marking the birth of the Qing Dynasty. So that's going to last, 250 years or something like that? The Mughal Empire is... so watch as the Qing Dynasty actually falls in population. They're actually falling right here. They're falling deeply, so the Mughal Empire is really able to catch up. By the year 1650... we are now seeing a very big race for that #1 population. Now, population numbers are hard to keep track because these are these are estimates. I mean, I always say it, but we still don't know exactly how many human beings are living on Earth right now. So it's very hard to figure it out over 400 years ago, or now over like 300 years ago. But it is very interesting to see a South Asian civilization approach the #1 population. Maybe they were. I mean, we're talking a 4 million difference here. That seems negligible. That seems like there could be, who knows what it actually was. But it's just funny to see throughout history constantly civilizations from India and China battling it out to see who can pack in the most people. Packing in the amount of people. It's crazy. So the Ottoman Empire is still solidly in third. Surprised to see Japan so high up. Obviously, the Iberian Union is no longer the case. Now the Spanish Empire has emerged, which means Portugal actually got pushed out completely, I believe, from the top, what is this, 15 or something like that. So the Japanese apparently have slightly more population than the Spanish Empire. Now remember, on a map, if you look at a map in 1659, the Spanish Empire is looking huge, massive, because they have from Argentina to, Mexico to California to Peru and Bolivia and all this stuff. So they're looking massive, but those aren't necessarily filled in with a bunch of people. They're just kind of claiming this territory, and the Spanish have a technological advantage over the natives in these lands, so they're just kind of ruling over a bunch of population. And of course, they intermingle, the mestizos. They're intermingling with the native population. They have to work a lot more. That's how they're able to keep their colonies for a long time there. The Mughal Empire population booms. The Mughal Empire rules much of the Indian subcontinent, home to nearly a quarter of the world's population by the year 1660. We're now over the 500 world population mark as well. Keep in mind, so this is the Spanish Empire, but there is a Habsburg in charge. We are not including that, though, with the Habsburg Empire, the Habsburg monarchy, which, like I said, is in Austria currently. Korea's packing in quite a bit of people this is a Joseon, the Joseon dynasty, the Joseon Empire. They're obviously not divided like they are that we see them today, where you have South Korea and North Korea. That's just a unified, big old Korea right there. Obviously, France is doing pretty good at this time. The French and the English are competing. Look at the Kingdom of England. Only 5 million people on it. Meanwhile, there's 4 times as many people here in France. There's only a 4 million population difference between the Qing dynasty and the Mughal Empire still. Mughal Empire population, its wealth, culture, and thrive trade networks make it one of the most powerful empires of its time. Yeah, that would have been not a very fun place to take over. Luckily, the English weren't going to have to take that over to obtain the British Raj just yet. There's a couple of other, we've got Maratha, which is also in South Asia as well. I think it's a little bit further south. Russia is still very, very low population, surprisingly, just considering where they're going to end up in this video. Russia's obviously going to be pretty high up once, they get their whole Soviet Union thing going. It's just weird to see them so low on the list. So we're entering into the 18th century or the 1700s very soon. The Ottoman Empire dominates the region. In the late 1600s, the Ottoman Empire controlled much of Southeast Europe, that's the Balkan region, Western Asia, Western Asia, up until Persia, and North Africa. Yeah, they stretch very, very far in 16th, which is why they're the third most populated. You would think they would also have more population than 30 million, but yeah, they don't. They don't have that many. It's just such a drastic population difference. And the thing that's really, it's funny because, all these European empires are going to band together and they're going to take over these two the most heavily populated places on Earth, the Mughal Empire and the Qing dynasty eventually. And it's just the technological advantages and the economic dominance that those empires had. It didn't matter, those population sizes. Technology is going to help them, the military technology is going to help them rule over vast population around the world. Much bigger population all around. So now we're going into the 1700s, not 500. Oh, the Mughal Empire does, technically, according to this video, pass up. What's this? Vast We're still talking about the Ottomans. Its vast lands and agricultural prosperity fueled rapid demographic growth during this period. Japan is still in fourth place. Now, the English and the French are definitely colonizing a lot more as we head into the 1700s. I'm surprised that Sweden's not on here, because this is kind of the height of the Great Swedish Empire. They're going to do their whole Great Northern War against Russia. They're going to lose that, and that's going to be the end of their empire. But they look pretty good. They clearly did not have that much. They had less than apparently 3.4 million population. That's kind of crazy. So yeah, Portugal has made it to the list. Was Sweden on here before? No, they were not. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, Portugal's on this list. I mean, they're a colony in Brazil. Big, beautiful Brazil. Brazil is one of the most populated countries on Earth currently, so of course Portugal is going to use that. That's going to be numbers for their own country here in the very beginning, before Brazil goes independent. And Dai Viet is still just chilling underneath the Qing dynasty. We have the shogunate rises around the 1700s. The Tokugawa shogunate, modern Japan, rules the Japanese islands, bringing peace after centuries of conflict. Yeah, so they were through their warlord period, right? There was a bunch of fighting that was happening on the Japanese islands. Spanish, now the Spanish are from the Bourbon family, which I believe is from France, right? So yeah, we had to make a little name change there. And actually, the Ottomans are falling a little bit. Let's see, after 1700s, the Tokugawa shogunate rules. Oh, my bad. I thought that was changing. Okay, there's a couple other things that are happening. Obviously, the monarchs are getting higher. Moguls are now number one once again. It's still the Kingdom of Italy. Kingdom of England. I keep calling them that. Okay, now they've officially changed to Great Britain, but they do not have their current modern-day Union Jack, because they don't have Northern Ireland representation on this Union Jack. It is just a merging of the Scottish flag and the English flag for now. So Spain is still pretty high up there. They're in fourth place. The Ottomans are definitely collapsing off the list very soon until they cease to exist. Over 600 million people live, and the Mughals are beginning to decline. The Mughals are beginning to decline heavily. Oh, now the Spanish are also beginning to decline. And here go the French. The Maratha Empire extends. So the Maratha Empire rises across much of western and central India, challenging the Mughal dominance. Yeah, this is why I believe a lot of Indians today there's not a whole lot of pride in the Mughal Empire. I see them kind of approaching more of Maratha or what's that one with the V? Something like that. But yes, because the Mughals were like an outside force that came on in. So yeah, the modern Indians don't really associate themselves with the Mughal Empire, obviously. Mysore is back. Carnatic Sultanate. I like that all the flags are included too. Very nice touch with the flag changes as well. Around 1725, the Peshwa Baji Rio I leads campaign. My bad, I'm butchering that. Influence into northern India. And the problem is the Europeans are going to begin to approach southern India, beginning to get little things. Oh, Portugal just got pushed out again. RIP. Dang, look how far the Russians are down below. That's crazy. Because the Spanish empires are growing more and more. The French are getting bigger and bigger. The Great Northern War has been ended. Now we're going to see the collapse of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth with the three different little partitions. Look at Maratha. Maratha is slowly building up population to beat past the Mughal Empire. The Kingdom of France grows stronger. By the mid-18th century, the Kingdom of France was the most populous state in Europe. Yes, Paris was such a massive city. It was also so ahead, too. Like, I forget how powerful Paris was for a long time. Like, historically, there's a higher chance you would probably want to be in Paris than in London. If you had only those two cities to choose from, and it was going to be any time in history beyond, after the year like 1200, 1300, 1400, something like that, you probably would want to be in Paris. But we're coming upon a time where they start to cut a lot of people's heads off. In the 1790s, it's going to be a little crazy in Paris, to say the least. So maybe you wouldn't always want to be in there. Dang, Britain still hasn't passed up Dai Viet, or Vietnam. So we're talking about France, but France is going to take a pretty big L in the 7 Years' War, which starts in 1756. Maratha Empire is still growing, but they are slowly catching the Mughals a little bit slower. The demographic weight fueled its army, economy, and cultural dominance in the decades leading to the revolution. So they're colonizing a lot of North America. Oh, the Dutch Republic have made it. Okay, so they've gotten their independence. They're now all around beginning to colonize as well. It's 1750, so we were kind of glazing France there for a second. However, it's time for France to take an L. And this was going to lead to France taking... It's pretty much the beginning of like a very interesting path for France as soon as the 7 Years' War begins. Moles with over 100 million population. It's kind of funny to see, what is this, like less than 200, it's like less than 300 years ago, and the Mongols have 100 million population. Do you know how many countries currently have over 100 million population? It's insane. There's so many nations that have over 100 million population now, but back in over 300 years ago, you would be the second most populous country on Earth. It just, goes to show how much population has really exploded. France is in 5th place. Ottomans are still there. We should see the rise of Russia, I'm thinking soon. Spain's actually declining. There we go. Maratha Empire expands, reaching their height, their territorial expansion after defeating the Mughals in several key battles. They're at 132 population, however, and they're growing, but the Qing dynasty is growing a lot faster here. So the 7 Years' War is over. Great Britain wins that, along with Prussia. We will see the rise of Prussia. Oh, here we go. And just like that, the British literally jump to 3rd. And this is partly because they're expanding, not even partly, it is because they're expanding into India, period. It's crazy how little of population they had. They go from 11 million to, 40 million in 1768. Now, that's kind of a crazy transition, but you could argue that that's pretty much what goes down. But by the mid-1700s, the British East Indian Company gains a foothold in Bengal and coastal India. There's others there too, but it's eventually just going to be the British. So now we get to see the rise. So basically, Maratha Empire is going to collapse into disappearance, and Great Britain is going to gobble up all of those population numbers. And we officially have the American independence. The Marathas fight a series of wars against the British East Indian Company. Kind of funny, we were talking about that, because I just mentioned the American independence movement and the American Revolution. So the British were spread kind of thin here. You got one continent fighting, you got another continent fighting. Also, don't forget the French, the Spanish, and the Dutch were all going to aid the Americans. We Americans got very, very lucky during the American Revolution. Also, Prussia has joined us. So a beginning form of Germany there. They're really on their rise. There's a Prussian general that's helping us also get our American independence, training our people in battle. The first war ends inconclusively with both sides holding territories. Japan's still 4th place with 30 million. That's really crazy. And now the French have helped America with enough, but those ideas are going to spread to them. And their people are going to be pretty upset. And they're not going to like the monarchy quite as much anymore. Look at the Habsburgs, still pretty high up. In the Second Anglo-Maratha War, I love that this little thing in the corner is not focusing on the typical topics, the things that I'm covering. Like, please, yes, tell me some of the other things that are going on, specifically in the high population areas. I mean, obviously that's what it's doing. I'm giving context to some of the smaller major world events that's going on, but we're focusing on population for this video. So every war that's happening in India and China is going to be massive for the population numbers. In the Second Anglo-Maratha War, the British win key battles and seize large regions. So, bam, the Prussians completely pass up Die Viet. The French Republic, so yes, things changed in 1792. Chaos in France erupts. Now, I'm surprised they're not actually losing population numbers. The British are still in 3rd, but now Russia's growing. The French are actually declining now. Okay, they are declining. They're down from 30 million. And here we go. Okay, things start to stabilize. Napoleon takes power. The United Kingdom officially changing their name right there. And now they're just going to really consolidate a lot of South Asia. And also a big thing in the 19th century is a lot of the European powers are going to begin to bully the Chinese, the Qing dynasty. Portugal's very high up on the list. Brazil's a massive, massive colony for them. Vietnam has changed their flag. It's no longer the Habsburgs. It's now just the Austrian Empire. So yeah, we are full throttle Napoleonic Wars. So officially, the Spanish colonies have just gained their independence. Apparently, well, yeah, because Bonaparte is Spain. So now Spain is fully occupied by the French. There's Vietnam Wars happening in Iberia that slowly erode the strength of the French Empire. And now Napoleon's about to invade Russia, which is going to be a terrible, terrible idea. But look at this. I mean, on par. These population numbers very, very on par, right on next to each other. Conflict continues as Maratha faction struggles to recover lost power. And bam, Russia's won. French Empire population is going to decline. Now Spain's just by it themselves. The major things happen because of the Napoleonic Wars, obviously, that cause a worldwide ripple effect. Pretty much now, all the New World is getting their independence. We now have the Bourbon Restoration, which is France. Austrian Empire still chilling. Prussia's going to be on their own rise. And now, basically, the UK controls the British Raj, all of it. We've got an early Iran that just popped up. The U.S. finally entered the list. They actually might have entered a couple seconds ago. But with 10 million population, we've already done the Louisiana Purchase by now. So that's part of the reason as well. So U.S. is going to... Oh, Mexican Empire. U.S. is going to explode with the Manifest Destiny stuff that's going on. Austria's in fourth. 2 Sicilies. So we're going to see unification of Germany and of Italy. It's 1825. And the UK have over 200 million population. That's crazy. United States population boomed. From the 1820s, the United States experiences rapid population growth. Accurate flag too. Little details like that. Love that. They didn't just put the modern day US flag. The little details. Mwah. Love that stuff. 2 Sicilies. Yeah, it's going to rise up out of Italy. July monarchy. That's the official French name. High birth rates and westward expansion drives steady increase in 1835. So they're going to go through a civil war, which is going to briefly bring down their population, but they will be back. So we're entering the Victorian Era. It's the Victorian Era starts 1836. So this is a time marked by the monarch that led the UK. So that should tell you a lot about who is the dominant power in this time period. It is the UK. Absolutely. Russian Empire is looking absolutely massive by this point, stretching from like Finland to Siberia. They haven't sold Alaska just yet, so they even have over there. Deep into Central Asia. So they are huge. United States... Oh, okay. Yeah, immigrants from Europe accelerates in the 1840s and 1850s. So we're getting some Germans, I think, that are coming in. Maybe some Scandinavians. I don't think the Italians and Irish haven't come in yet. Maybe some. New territories and states added millions of residents. Okay, so now they are definitely stretching all the way to the Pacific. I think they've finally united all the way over there. But yeah, the U.S. Civil War is going to happen. And in 4 years, or something like that. Sorry, no, actually now in 4, 5, 6 years. French Empire is here. Sardinia and 2 Sicilies. So boom, these two powers right here are going to combine to form Italy. That's kind of crazy. So we have 2 things happening during the American Civil War in North America, which now it's officially kicked off. So watch America's population. Oh, okay, I don't think that can be accurate. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to decline. Well, maybe not. Maybe they were still having babies, but that is the deadliest conflict the U.S. has ever been a part of because obviously both sides were American. But I thought overall, maybe the U.S. doesn't overall lose overall population, but we still have over 1 million men lost. I mean, maybe we were able to, just make more babies, continue to make more babies. But UK globally expands. UK kingdom extends from colonial empire across Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. Well, Africa hasn't been fully imperialized just yet. Not until 1885, the Berlin Conference. There we go. Brazil's got its independence, so that is going to take a ton of power away from Portugal. Portugal is not going to enter this video anymore, I don't think. Well, maybe with Angola when they take those territories from Germany after World War I, but I still don't think so. UK extends, yes. Austria-Hungary is now a thing. Ottoman Empire is still struggling, still barely crawling along. The Netherlands have all of Indonesia, which I'm thinking is the big reason why the Netherlands population is still so high for this. Kingdom of Italy is now officially here. And then Germany's going to join us in 4 years. It consolidates control over India following the 1857 rebellion. There we go. Now we have the Russians in a solid 3rd place. 1871, there goes Germany. Germany wins a big war over the French to get unification. Now, this changes the entire dynamic of the world, of geopolitics at this time, because all of a sudden you go from a UK kind of French rivalry to now we've got this new kid on the block, and he's huge. He's known as Germany, and the UK is very, very worried about Germany, especially because Germany is going to start to build boats, and UK cannot have that. You cannot be in the European continent and threaten UK naval dominance, because the UK is an island. That's their thing. UK doesn't worry about their army. UK worries only about their navy. That's their number one priority. Surprised that Spain's still on this list even after losing their colonies. That's crazy they were still fitting in 23 million. That is nuts, because they've lost so much. That's fascinating. I mean, Portugal has re-entered the list. I'm pretty sure Portugal is still at 10 million population, which is kind of insane. I believe Portugal still to this day is at 10 million population 150 years later. That says a lot. Trade, industry, naval power, fuel, population, and economic growth. Netherlands growing, again, because Indonesia. Oh, yeah, so officially the Empire of Japan becomes a thing. So Empire of Japan is going to take Taiwan very early. It's known as Formosa at that time, I think. Don't they take it from the Portuguese or something? Oh, yeah, they're completely ravaging Qing Dynasty at this point. And now they're about to ravage Africa very soon. So U.S. is actually in 4th place now with our own population. So immigration has exploded for sure. Now I think we're getting those Irish immigrants, or at least a ton of them. Dang, Mexico is only at 10 million population at this time. That's jarring to me. That's huge considering, I mean, obviously Mexico's lost a lot of their territory. You know, they lost the Mexican-American War way further ago. But Mexico's big land. It's hard to keep a large population. Mexico really only has one area to fit a ton of its people, and that's Mexico City, because it's just so much rough terrain, and then you have northern deserts. But 10 million at this time is very, very low. New colonies, yeah, so the UK officially over 300 million population. Not only 300 million population, but you have to consider they control 25% of the globe's land area at this point. So insane. Sometimes you know it's easy to look at the UK and Russia at this time, and they look visually very close in size, but in terms of absolute population numbers, UK is dominating Russia by 3 times, by literally 3 times. And this is part of the reason why Russia didn't want to sell Alaska to the UK. Russia knew that, yeah, I mean, UK does beat, with the help of French, they beat the Russians in the Crimean War. So yeah, the Russians know that the UK is definitely the much more powerful force. And even though the Qing Dynasty have the biggest population right now, I want to reiterate the UK is easily the number 1 nation. I mean, just because that is just because they don't want to take over the Qing Dynasty. Well, they are. Actually, they do. And they're doing a bunch of messed up things, the Opium Wars. They want to weaken it a lot. But I'm sure, yeah. And think about 1884. Funny that this number is going to come up because now they're going to just take all of Africa. So now all the Europeans are going to get even more population, even more land, but for this video, even more population. 1.5 billion people were approaching in 1885. So watch as the European population grows even more. It's not going to explode like it exploded when the UK got India, because there's just not that many people in a singular area, but it's going to still explode. And yeah, I mean, it is exploding. UK globally expands. So you're going to see big numbers out of the UK, out of France a little bit. Germany gets stuff. Portugal is going to state the Treaty of Tordesillas, why they should take all of Africa, which is hilarious. Dang, Brazil. Brazil's ahead of Mexico, but Brazil does not have that much population in 1890. Considering what they have now, over 200 million, I believe. Damn, they really had some explosions. Okay, and Korea is about to get taken over by the Japanese very soon. Belgium not doing bad in population either. They took the Congo, by the way, and they're doing horrible things there. Germany's growing. I can't believe France still has us passed up, still has the U.S. passed up, and oh, well, France is huge at this time. They're also over, officially in the late 1800s, France has taken over Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. 2 giants on the rise. The United States grows rapidly by the 19th century, fueled by immigrants and industrialization. Also Russia, since that's the Russian flag. That's the Russian Empire. Where are they at, actually? Oh, they have a modern-day Russian flag. So the two flags are a little bit different. And the Russian Empire stretches across Eurasia, holding one of the largest populations in the world. But what really freaks out the UK at this time, especially in 1902, is the rise of Germany. Because obviously the UK, France, and Russia all team up to defeat Germany. Germany has a lot of economic strength. They're not huge in terms of population, but they have a massive army and a massive population. They're a massive population center in the heart of Europe right now. So that's freaking out the UK. There's massive battleships being pumped out. If you look at an economic standpoint, Germany is very close to threatening the UK and getting a bigger economy. So this is happening. Also, another big thing. Okay, well, first of all, you have the end of the Spanish Empire. I missed that. The Spanish. So that's why that was a good graphic to show in the corner there, because once the U.S. beat the Spanish in the American-Spanish War, we take Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines from them, which is why our population grows even more. And then we also have another thing happening is the Russo-Japanese War. It's funny that we're talking about Russia because Russia's actually going to take a pretty big L here. And Japan's going to get a pretty big dub. So their population is going to grow. And now we're about to enter into World War I. Bam. Japan is now in over 60 million population. Korea is no longer on the list, of course. And I'm trying to think, wow, UK is about to pass up Qing Dynasty. So the Qing Dynasty have been in their century of humiliation, and it's only going to get worse. It is only going to get worse for them if they think it's going to end. Wow, Ethiopia entering in 1910. That's incredible. That is very cool. Hey, Spain is still here. Spain obviously stays neutral in both civil wars. Belgium's going to have a bad time coming up in 3 years because they're going to be involved in World War I without their, they don't want that. Republic of China. Europe loses millions of young men starting 1914. We do have the Christmas treaty, though, in 1914 to look forward to, but a whole lot of extra years to be for horrible things to happen. Dang, Mexico, still 15 million population, and we're just almost only 100 years away. That means Mexico's population goes times 7 or times 8 or something crazy like that. So yeah, it's the Central Powers, Germany, Turkey, the Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria versus all of the Entente, France, the UK, Russia, Italy. Italy joins later. The USA, Belgium, Serbia, I think that's Serbia, and Japan. Yeah, Japan, Empire of Japan, first was the good guys, then they were the bad guys. But they were going to get some colonies in the Pacific because Germany takes that L there. Population still grows during World War I. Look at that world population. It is still growing. Probably held up by a lot of India and a lot of China at the end of the day. The war leaves deep demographic scars, slowing population growth for decades. Yeah, I mean, obviously it really roughs up Russia. And something that I always talk about, where I've been talking more and more about this channel, is at the end of World War I, complete chaos. Even though World War I ends, complete chaos in Europe. Absolute madness. Because you still have the Russian Civil War, that's why Russia just came here. You have the fall of the Ottomans. You have, they're still fighting with Hungary. The Polish Republic, they get their independence. They're going to win a war with Russia while they're currently fighting a civil war. Hey, Portugal is still here. Look at you, Portugal. Good job. Good job. Even though Brazil, have left you. Okay, so the Weimar Republic is officially official. You're gonna have a horrible currency. Have fun with that. And China's about to break down very soon. So roaring 20s. For the most part, U.S. escapes World War I. And it's not that bad. Actually, we escaped both of the world wars, and it's not that bad. But yeah, we have officially the roaring 20s, but we are banning alcohol. Look at Kingdom of Italy Kingdom of Romania. Crazy. That's nice, Romania. Look at that. Yeah, we got a pretty thick Romania. So we've officially established the USSR. So formation of USSR, the Russian Soviet Federation. Lenin has achieved his dreams. Look at their population, though, continue to decline. Yeah, it's not a fun time right now. It's pretty rough for Russia. 1925, still good times in the USA, though. UK has officially passed up China. And the rise of Japan, the French Republic. You have very few nations in the world because the Europeans have just eaten up everything. And to be fair, the US and Japan as well. 1928, and the stock market is about to crash. It's 1929. Empire of Japan expansion. I'm thinking the stock market, I actually don't know for sure, but I'm assuming the Great Depression did heavily affect population numbers for a little bit there. So it's 1929. Japan's looking massive. The First Sino War is about to happen. Spanish Republic, yes. So Japan's going to get themselves into some wars with China. So are they just considering this is just the Republic of China? We're not going to break down China until all the warlords? I guess we're not. But Japan is fighting wars now with China. Their population is going to decline. Well, it's actually not declining, but it's losing stuff to the UK. UK is just expanding. China, despite foreign invasion and a civil conflict, remains one of the most populous nations on Earth. Look at Japan's growth. Oh, now they're starting to explode. Because Japan's taking a ton of Chinese population away. A ton. And now World War II is about to start. So 1936, Italy's going to get a little bit bigger because they take over Ethiopia. Oh yeah, that's right. Hitler takes over. And he is going to get his revenge for World War I. Who's supposed to make it on the list? Oh, Turkey, Kingdom of Yugoslavia, and World War II. Sorry, World War II. Japan is second currently, 1939. That's crazy. That's crazy because of how low China has dropped. This is a very, very, very rare time in human history because China and India are no longer the top dogs in terms of population. That almost never happens in the entirety of human civilization. We have the UK and Japan. Now, it's all happenstance. It's all just like, well, it's because the UK controls India and Japan controls a lot of the big population hubs of China and Korea, of course. But this is a crazy screenshot. This is insane. Okay, so it's 1940, and the Germans are really powerful right now, so they're growing in population numbers, along with Italy as well. The French Free States still rocking 40 million population, although they're declining heavily. 1941, Operation Barbarossa. Bro, what are you doing? Spanish state, Franco's taking over in Spain. Turkey stays out of the war until very, very late. Kingdom of Egypt. So Japan is on their rise. Pearl Harbor has happened. 1942 is a turning point in World War II. UK numbers are still growing, funny enough. Look at this. Man, look at these powers that are at the top here. Crazy. World War II is just such an insane event. Thailand is involved in World War II, forced to join the Axis. And 1943 is the fall here. 1944, it's over. Bam, French Republic comes back. Japan's done. No, Germany's done. They become occupied Germany by 1945, and now China's going to deal with... Watch China's numbers. I should focus more on the population aspect of this video, but I'm just trying to narrate all the chaos that's happening. But watch this, because the Chinese Civil War, as soon as World War II ends, Chinese Civil War kicks back up. And India has now gone officially independence. India gains independence. India becomes independent after 200 years of rule. And the UK are about to drop everything. They're going to lose everything right here. So boom, China is officially communist by 1949. India is here. China's going to have a, kind of a rough time. Oh, occupied Japan. Just becomes regular Japan by 1952. The subcontinent is partitioned into India and Pakistan, triggering massive population movements. So Pakistan should enter. Oh, there's Pakistan. So that's actually dropped India quite a bit from the list. And now things are going to look a bit more normal. Watch Brazil. I've been watching Brazil's population this whole time. Oh yeah, Indonesia gets its independence from the Dutch, so the Dutch no longer are going to be very high, as high in population. Brazil's population soars as rapid urbanization and industrialization growth transform the nation. Yeah, Brazil's having a great time. I mean, again, it was, like I said, only 100 years ago they had 10 million population. Absolutely insane. Thailand's over 30 million population. Spain's going to stay a little bit more fascist for 10 more years. The Philippines has gone independent. They've been independent. The Americans no longer occupy that stuff. This is height of the Cold War right now. So if you're the USA, if you're looking at just population numbers, this is terrifying. If you're just trying to spread capitalism, this is terrifying because you got 250 million people living under a communist regime in the USSR, and then you have almost 1 billion people in China living under communism in China. So this is, when you look at it from that perspective, it really looks like the commies are going to win. If I'm speaking like an American. Also, the Vietnam War is happening here, but that shouldn't affect U.S. population too much. We ended up losing a lot of men, but overall we're still growing. West Germany has entered the list. Oh, Nigeria. Yep, and Nigeria is going to be there for a while. Nigeria is going to continue to grow for a very long time. East Pakistan breaks away after a bloody struggle to become Bangladesh. Yep, because Pakistan had both sides there for a second. Vietnam, now after the end of the Vietnam War, finally can grow. So many Vietnamese refugees were displaced all around the world. Really messed up conflict for Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, the whole region. I mean, they even went to China, some refugees. France. Oh yeah, so now decolonization has already happened pretty much all around the world at this point. Everyone's lost most of Africa. There might be some islands they lose. By 1981, we have the first 1 billion nation. China's population climbs to 1 billion. That's so crazy. Obviously, the USA at this point is cuddling up to China. We're putting the gas again. We're hitting the gas again, putting it on the floor to defeat the Soviets and end the Cold War. And we're cuddling up next to China because Soviet split. India's population continues to grow, even though, because there's a big difference between the India occupied that was all considered British and this India. Because remember, when British was controlling India, it wasn't just India. It was India, it was Pakistan, it was Bangladesh, and it was Myanmar, and it was Sri Lanka. So it's impressive that India does not have so much of that land, and they're still able to hold such huge population numbers. Pakistan's still here, of course. Bangladesh is still here in population numbers. But 1986, massive migration to cities and industrial expansion intensifies demographic and social change in China. China's going to have some student revolts here soon enough in Tiananmen Square, but they begin to economically reform. They're experimenting with some of those special economic zones like Shenzhen. It's 1990, and we now have Germany join the list. So West and East Germany were united. And 1991, the Russians join us, and they do not come back to the same level. Look at that. Russia leaves in 1990, December 1991. They go from the third place nation with almost 300 million population, and of course when the USSR dissolves, to half of that. Basically half that population, because they lose Ukraine, they lose the Baltics, they lose all of Central Asia, the Caucasus Mountain region. And now Brazil passes them up by 1992. World's at 5.5 billion. By 1990s, Indonesia becomes the fourth most populous country in the world. They remain there for a minute. Look at Indonesia go. Look at that. Indonesia, nice job. Just behind the USA, Pakistan's growing. Yeah, rough time for Russia in the 90s. Oh, I didn't get to talk about Japan and their economic boom, but now they're going to be very, very stagnant. There goes Egypt. We have entered the new century, the new millennium. My bad. Look at the Philippines grow by 2003. Bangladesh, and here goes India and China. India really has a rise at this time. Sorry, China and India really have a rise at this time. Nigeria surges in population at the start of the new millennium. Nigeria becomes Africa's most populous country. There we go. Nigeria in, 7th place? That's about 7th place. 2013. And this is what I'm saying. Look at all the nations that have over 100 million population. All these nations that are going to join in with over 100 million population by 2025. And India passes up China, I believe, in 2023, officially. Although we don't know for sure how many. We speculate that China has even less than this. We speculate that China could have 1.2 million, but we don't know. And the USA is keeping our population numbers up, but that's almost entirely through immigration, because people are not having babies anymore. And now this video is going to be really interesting if we could extend it another 75 years. I probably will not be around for another 75 years, but I wish we could extend this video, have AI take it over, and show the next 75 years, because things are going to change so much. We're going to be in unheard of territories of human history, because so many populations are now going to decline. Not a whole lot on this list. A lot of the people by 2025... Like a lot of the nations that are going to decline are, okay, well, Japan's on this list and they're going to decline. Mexico's barely able to keep up their birth rates too. Their birth rates are not very high. Russia as well, but I don't see France and the UK here. But population's going to be, it's just going to go down. It's going to be crazy. But yeah, here's the top 10, all these, or whatever, top 15, all these nations with over 100 million population. It's crazy. The video is by Global Stats. Go check them out. Love this channel. Again, I can't give them enough credit for including the correct flags and the territories and the things they decided to cover, because I get, the video focus was population, not on world events and things like that. So really good stuff. I would say definitely the best population video I've seen so far here on YouTube. Big thanks to my patrons this month. If you want your name here, check that Patreon link in the description down below. Never change Drew unless you want to. We need a Drew bobblehead figurine. Petition for Drew
Alexander
to make Hoy
the Terrible,
for ASMR
Connor
Tingles
Pavlik,
version 2. Frederick Tiblin, King Bear Hayes,
Lord Track,
Luxembourg Lover, Miglu the Goat, Nolan,
Nord Tyrol,
Tamron,
and William.